got some badass news tonight, man. This is good stuff. Real good stuff. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but Gegard Mousasi will be coming to the UFC. Nothing's definite yet, but it's big news. Real big news. He's kind of put it, maybe about a year ago that he's not regretting the whole, UFC thing in his career, that he's not bummed out that he's never been in the UFC. Well, I think maybe UFC might have approached him or something, or maybe might have looked at some contract, or looked at his contract and where he's at right now, being the ex-Strikeforce champion and whatnot, all that good stuff. We all know Strikeforce is coming to an end here in January, so Gegard Mousasi, man, as far as I'm concerned, that's a huge name, like an Overeem or like Antonio Silva. Those guys need to be at least tested in the UFC and see where the hell they're at. You know what I mean? We're gonna see what's going on with Overeem soon here too. So that's big stuff, man. Big stuff. Anyway, Gegard, there's no, like he said, I read the interview. It's on. If you want to check out the interview, it's on. I don't know a ton about the page. It's not a page I normally go to. But Full Contact Fighter, FCfighter.com. Gegard Mousasi says he's headed to UFC and can beat anybody. In quotes, can beat anyone. It's actually a really good article, man. So I would say go and check it out. All the shit on that article, man, I can't relay it to you in this video. It's just too much stuff to read. But if I sat here reading it, it'd be a pretty boring video. But it's huge, man. It's huge. Gegard Mousasi, UFC. Mousasi's management right now is in talks with UFC, so you can bet he will probably be in the UFC. Why would Dana not want to get that guy in there? I've been asking that question for the last 2 years. There's no reason for this guy to be in Strikeforce. You know what I mean? I don't know what you guys think, honestly. I mean, I'm not a huge King Mo fan. I don't have really much against the guy. He kind of tested negative, which is why he's doing the pro wrestling thing right now. So I think it's January 2013. Obviously, he will be in, or February, somewhere in there. He will be debuting Bellator. And if he does really well, I would bet he'd probably be in UFC. You know what I mean? Because if he's going to be a big name, then Dana's going to want to get him. And obviously, I thought that Gegard looked better in their fight, even though King Mo was on top. Just because you're on top doesn't mean you appear to be in control. Gegard Mousasi did everything he could to beat King Mo from the bottom. I mean, he had constant strikes. King Mo was not always in the advantageous position. He was just resting on top of him. A lot of people don't like Fitch because Fitch gets in there, but I think Fitch has changed over the years. I think a lot of people just kind of pigeonhole John Fitch as just a guy that lays on you. No, he's a grinder, man. He gets on you, beats on you, and controls you and keeps you down, but he beats you up while you're down there. And if he gets you into that early in the first round, second round, you're going to be pretty fucked up for the second round, but I'm getting way off track, man. Anyway, Gegard Mousasi, damn good shot of being in the UFC. I'm not going to say it's guaranteed, but I'd say we're pretty much 80% sure it's going to happen. With his management's in talks with UFC right now, so it's looking like I'm going to be there. You know what I mean? Things are looking good. So, like I said, man, the article goes over just a ton of what he's about. The guy's got an amazing record. It's a wonder he hasn't been in the UFC in the last couple of years, you know what I mean? There's a shit ton of crap going on in MMA right now. I'm going to go ahead and pull up. Recently, Czech Congo got some shit because he was asked to fight Roy Nelson. But he was asked to fight Roy Nelson on short notice. Dana White's like, hey man, I need you to step in and fight Roy Nelson in place of Shane Carwin. Czech Congo's like, well, he's not a guy I want to fight on short notice. I want to have time to prepare for this. This is one thing I want to throw at you guys. A lot of this is happening in the last 6 months, this whole year, pretty much. A lot of injuries, and I don't want to say it's definite, but it's a hunch of mine. And Bleacher Report. I'm not saying they're absolutely right either, or I'm right, but I think a lot of the fighters are tired of being pushed around, and I think that's why a lot of these injury reports are coming up, because they're being pushed too hard. I think a lot of guys are being pushed too hard, train really hard, because in UFC it's usually 2 losses. You could be done. 3 losses, you're most likely done. Unless you're, Dan Hardy or, you're a damn, gateway to another country or whatever, or a Bisbang or something like that. We can all go ahead and say that Bisbang and Bisbang lately has earned his right to be where he is. I'll say that. In the past, I've not been a fan of Bisping. I'm still not a fan of him. But I respect the guy, and he's done what he's done to get where he is. He fought a decent fight with Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen ground him out, ground him, pounded him, kind of, ground the situation out, ground him out, got the finish, got whatever. But it wasn't no easy fight for Chael. You know what I mean? Held him down, controlled him, basically. It was more of a control win. Well, getting back on point, man, I think there's a lot of fighters out there that are coming up injured. How many times have we seen injuries in 2012? I can't even begin. 2009 was the worst year I've seen injuries. 2012 has probably doubled it. It's just been ridiculous. Shane Carwin's been injured, as far as I know. He was out for quite a while. Maybe it wasn't this year he was supposed to fight. Maybe late last year, early this year. He had to pull out due to injury. Had to pull out due to injury. He was supposed to fight Roy Nelson, opposite, the tough show. The finale they were going to fight. You know what I mean? He talked about his knee being injured. And of course, his knee got injured too far for him to compete in that fight. If you guys want to think about it and answer it, whatever. Are fighters being put, number one question, are fighters being pushed too much to compete? Really? Because you got some guys that are on PEDs, TRT, whatever, man. Like I said before, man, there's so many damn names for all that shit. Guys recently have tested positive. Diego Silva, submission win over, I don't even remember, man. It was the last UFC card, GSP Condit card. Diego Silva, scores a nice submission win in what I thought was going to be a pretty tough fight, and he pulled it out and he won it. And I was like, man, this is kick-ass. He's getting back on track. Everything's looking good. Test positive for weed, which I think is fucking stupid, man. If somebody wants to smoke a joint on their own time, big deal, man. I don't do it. It's not my thing. Whatever, man. If somebody wants to do that on their own time, that's one thing. But I guess with random testing, you're just gonna have to find a way to be careful with that shit or something, man. Do it right after a fight or something. And then don't do it again or something. If you're going to be a fighter, you have to find a different way to do your shit. Anyway, back on to some news. Rich Clemente, ex-UFC fighter in Bellator, and he decided to step away from fighting. Rich Clemente has 68 professional MMA fights. Clemente finished out 45, 22, and 1. It's not a record to be upset with, man, by no means. Competed in the UFC in 2009, during 2007 through 2008 stretch, defeated the likes of Anthony Johnson, Melvin Gillard, and Sam Stout. I guess this day had to come sometime. Just wish it could have been on my terms. But then again, we all know that wouldn't have happened because I would have always wanted to just have one more time under those lights. I'm so grateful for all the things this sport has taught me, the friends, the experiences, most of all, the learning of who I am. So that's very cool, man. Very cool. Very humble guy. Very cool guy. And Rich will continue to work with students in Rich Clemente's Gladiator Gym in Louisiana. So it's very cool, man. Very cool to know that. He may change his mind. We've seen it happen before. Randy Couture. Recently, Matt Hamill, has jumped back in the mix. I don't know his age, man, but he you never know, man. He could step back in, given the right situation, maybe. But we'll see. Hats off to Rich Clemente. Jim Miller, excited to have another fight in 2012. Faces Joe Lozon at UFC 155. That'll be cool, man. Very cool. Obviously, as we all know, Diego Silva test positive for marijuana. He's on a 6-month suspension. We won't see him till probably May or June. Says here, GSP's trainer believes super fight with Anderson Silva should go down at 170 pounds. So Anderson Silva will be going all the way down from 185 to 170. That's fucked up in my opinion because it should be a catch weight. You're talking about two champions, both long careers as champion. I don't think they should be meeting at one guy's weight because, I've talked about this before a while ago. One fighter at a certain weight that he's used to. If the other fighter has to come all the way down to his weight, it's a huge disadvantage. He's not used to it. He's carrying a lot less weight. Maybe he'll be more quicker, who knows, but maybe there's a lot less power there or that what he's used to. GSP, just normal game. Normal game to go around and do whatever. Either one of these guys lose, no big deal, man. These guys are set for life as far as I'm concerned, unless they've got a spending problem. Set for a few lives. I think it should be, you're talking about one guy at 185 and one guy at 170. At minimum, it should be a 177 or a 178 catchweight fight. Come on, man. Other organizations have pulled that off, catchweight fights. UFC can pull that off too. I mean, I'm sure they already have. Why wouldn't you do it not for that? Don't make any sense to me, you know. Well, GFP's got to gain some weight, while Anderson Silva's got to lose some. So I mean, either way, they're both at a disadvantage, but they're both at an equal disadvantage. Maybe it's not equal. I don't know, but I mean, it just seems to me they're both stepping outside the norm in order to make the fight even. One guy stepping all the way out of the norm to go down to an entirely lower weight class in order to make the fight. It doesn't make sense to me. But they've been talking about that fight for probably 2 years now, putting them two in the cage together. It's not something that I'm overly excited about. I mean, you guys tell me, man. Does it really make sense to you? Is it really that exciting to you? I mean, I'm probably more excited about Anderson Silva versus John Jones. You know, Anderson Silva's gone up to light heavyweight before and done well. We've seen him do it, I think, twice so far. It was James Irvin and Forrest Griffin. There may have been one more, but I don't think so. I think it's just them two. He's gone up to that weight class. You know, can he go down a weight class? You know, maybe. You know, but I don't know, man. I mean, what do you guys think, man? Is it fair for him to have to go all the way down to 170? I mean, we're talking about him fighting in 3 different weight classes here, you know, and I don't care what anybody says. That's bragging on your body over time. Go all the way down to this weight, and you're going up to 205. You know, you're fluctuating, 30, 40 pounds. Not real close in time, but still, I mean, if he wants to fluctuate that and defend belts and do shit like that, which I don't see it happening, but if he wants to do that, that's killer on the body. That's just going to be ridiculous. Like I said, man, what do you guys think about it? A little more news. This is a bit shocking for me because Joseph Sandoval fought guy Nick Denny. Nick Denny came in 22 seconds, knocked the living shit out of this guy with just straight elbows, and it was a sick looking knockout. And I thought, man, if this guy can do something like that so easy, I'm dying to see his next fight. Well, you know what? His next fight came and went. He got submitted by Roland Delorme. Denny suffered a fractional orbital bone in the Delorme loss. He said, I came to the UFC and made an amazing debut. 29-year-old who has signed a multi-fight contract with the UFC cited research in chronic traumatic encephalopathy as his reason for leaving MMA. He retired from the UFC, was afraid of, I don't know, something recently with the football thing got to his head. He doesn't want to suffer from concussions and shit like that. Maybe that could be something, you know. I mean, we've seen football players recently from a concussion, having a year off or something like that from being concussed or whatever. And, doctors are still evaluating and seeing, well, maybe it's still not a good idea for you to go back. I don't remember the guy's exact name, but you guys, football fans, you guys know what I'm talking about. Big news for me, man. I mean, I like I said, man, I thought this guy would have done well by the way he just dismantled Joseph Sandoval. I mean, he ruined this guy in 22 seconds. It's just straight elbows. He caught him with a shot, went in, straight bows, dropped his ass. It was over with. He was just fucking standing proud, ready to go. 22 seconds. You know what I mean? It just goes to show you, man, the shit can go anywhere. Like the karate guy, Stephen Thompson, that came in. I thought he was fucking lightning fast and nobody could get him. A guy that I thought would have been done a while ago, man. No offense to the guy, because I got a lot more respect for him now. Matt Brown came in, floored him, took him down, beat him up, elbowed him to bits, blew his face out. The kid was destroyed by the end of the fight. You know what I mean? But he is coming back. I think he's got a fight again. It'll be his 3rd UFC fight. The first one was a head kick knockout. It's a badass performance. It was sweet, but it was all karate. There was no wrestling even thought of. The guy learned a lesson. Talking about Thompson. He's brand new. He went 60 karate kickboxing. 60 fights, 60-0. It was a sick karate fighter. You know what? Matt Brown takes him down, destroys him with elbows, controls him with wrestling, kicks his fucking ass. I mean, just straight up kicks his ass. Dude had nowhere to go. It was tough to watch, man, really, because I was a fan of the guy because he was just so elusive. He almost looked like a young Lyoto Machida or something. I thought this guy's going to go places, but Lyoto Machida would have been a different story. Like I said, man, there's a ton of news going on, man. Lots of stuff. Eric Silva, man, has been on the end of both styles, man. Sweet wins, some nice submission wins, nice knockout wins, man. He's taking on Jay Heron. Any MMA fan, You got to know who Jay Heron is. Jay Heron's just fought in UFC. I think he's had one fight, or just fought in Bellator, excuse me. Had one fight back in UFC. UFC 156, he's taking on Eric Silva. I think that should be kind of cool, man. It should be a pretty good match, because Eric Silva's quick, man, quick. Jay Heron, very experienced. So, I mean, it's going to be kind of a cool show to see, man. Very cool. 156, 155 are both shaping up to be some badass cards, man, for sure. Chris Weidman out, injured, after calling out Anderson Silva and wanting to get his shit moving and get shit going on. He was all pissed off because Michael Bisping was saying that he should get his shot and whatever, and they were battling each other online to try to see who could get the fucking title shot. Neither one of them are ready, in my opinion. But I mean, if anybody has earned it, Bisping's earned it well over Chris Weidman. We can see that. Weidman, if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. I've seen the guy fucking fight. The dude's very promising, but is he ready for a title shot? Not yet. Not yet. And he was going to face Tim Bosch. Tim Bosch is a grizzled, fucking tough guy. You beat him up for a few rounds, and he'll still be ready for you in the third. But he's out. He's injured. Constantina Philippou. It says on here Costa Philippou, but it's Constantina. Steps in to face Tim Bosch at UFC 155, so that's kind of cool. We'll still see Tim Bosch fight that night, which is good. I'm a fan of Tim Bosch. I like him. He's rough, tough guy. Good wrestler, man. And jackhammers in hands. You know what I mean? So hopefully, maybe down the road, we can see him and Weidman square off, man. It'd be sweet. Todd Duffee returned to the UFC. Will face Philip DeFries at 155. Like I said, man, 155 shape up to be a cool card, man. Could be a shocking night, man. DeFries could knock out Duffee. You never know, man. We've seen it happen. But we've seen the flip side, man. We've seen Duffee on some nice victories, outside of the UFC since he's been in the UFC, you know what I mean? So Duffee's making his return. Dana basically came out and said, all right, this is a one fight deal, man. It's one shot. You win, you move on. You lose, you're done. Which I think is fucking stupid and sucks. And I think Dana, in the past, had a couple of problems with Todd Duffee. Todd Duffee wasn't playing Dana's game. I don't think Todd Duffee was still playing Dana's game, because Dana said Todd Duffee's attitude wasn't that great. It's like, well, you expect everybody to come in and suck your fucking ass? I mean, get the fuck over yourself already. I mean, come on, man. I'm not a hater of Dana, but it's like, dude, he had a bad attitude. What's he supposed to do? Lick your fucking balls? The guy's negotiating for his life, for his career. What is he supposed to suck your fucking dick? Settle the fuck down, man. Who the fuck are you? You're president of a fucking company just so you can be given a badge and a special guy? Like I said, man, I'm not a hater of Dana. There's a lot of things I like about the guy. There's a lot of things I don't like about the guy. I'm right in the damn dead center, man. Some things he says just piss me off, though. You had a really bad attitude. Well, what are you, the fucking president? Of the United States? No, you're the president of a fucking company that basically fucking, so far, it looks to me like you're pushing a lot of people around. And I think you better, come on. We've had the most injuries we've ever seen in UFC history this year. I think people are a little tired of getting pushed around and told, you're going to do this, or you're going to do that, or I'm going to blast you on Twitter. What does he do? He spends his whole fucking life on Twitter. Here's my little Dana rant, I guess, for this video, but you guys know how he is. So anyway, Duffee's back. He's going to be fighting Philip DeFries. I expect a fucking second round knockout of DeFries. DeFries will hit the deck, but we've seen Duffee get knocked out too. So unless he's got some good defense, he better be watching what's coming at him, because if he wins it, and he does well, and his attitude gets better, then maybe we'll see him in a couple more good fights, man. But I think it's cool that they're bringing him in, and not bringing him in to make him look bad, because we've seen that happen before, where they bring him in against somebody that'll just fucking smash him. So he's still a young guy, he's still learning, man. Bring him in against somebody that he has a chance to get a good showing. You know what I mean? And people want to see him fight. I want to see the guy fight. It's not like, holy shit, he's the best guy ever. No, I just want to see him fight. I want to see him fight in UFC again. So here, I got my wish. Martin Kamen offers congratulations to Johnny Hendricks. But you guys saw that, man. Holy shit. Holy shit. 2 badass knockouts. Not 2 in a row. Johnny Hendricks has been on a fucking tear, man. Johnny Hendricks also thinks he's the best wrestler that GSP will ever face. Johnny Hendricks is no joke when it comes to wrestling either. I think he was 56-0 or something like that in wrestling, college wrestling. Everybody says, man, that's fucking badass. So, just running over some news, some stuff that's going on. I'll probably get another video on here soon to run down maybe UFC on Fox 5 or something like that, because that's coming up here shortly. But I will see you guys soon, man. Sub, all that good stuff. And check out the other videos, man. See if you guys agree. If you guys don't agree, tell me. You know, it's alright. We can agree to disagree. That's fine. Alright. See you guys soon, man.